There's a guy in the WWE world who went over there, Brock Lesnar. And I don't know if you and Brock ever fought or anything like that, but what are your thoughts on what Brock was able to accomplish over there? And do you wish, for the good of the sport, UFC, do you wish that Brock would have focused strictly on mixed martial arts, or do you think
Brock and I had a big moment after I beat Stipe because he was in the crowd. So I called him into the octagon, and we pushed and shoved at each other. And I cut a promo on him. He cut a promo on me. It was like WrestleMania.
Let's go.
It was freaking awesome. And we were scheduled to fight. But then Brock never got his contract worked out with the UFC, so the fight never happened. So for me, it sucked, right? Because that's big money. You fight Brock Lesnar, it's big money. You know, he's a draw in the wrestling world. He's a draw in the mixed martial arts world. I think he could have been something tremendously special if he just did MMA. But to be a UFC champion and he's got 7 fights in his whole career, 8 fights in his whole career. So to have worn the UFC belt with that little experience, it speaks to the level of athlete that Brock Lesnar is.
You would have beat up Brock Lesnar?
I would have crushed Brock Lesnar.
Oh!
I would have walked him. I would have walked Brock Lesnar. I would have walked Brock Lesnar out of the octagon. And for me, it was great, right? Because it was a great visual, right? Brock's this big hulking guy. I'm small. I'm pudgy. It's like, but then I'm just gonna kick Brock's ass. You know, it's perfect for me. Sadly, it didn't happen.
The opinions of my guests do not reflect that of me. I forget who it was now. Somebody was in the cage. Who just had that big knockout? Just walked straight ahead and just
Francis Ngannou.
Just threw bombs at the guy.
Oh, yeah, it was Francis Ngannou, man.
And I forget, somebody was talking shit on you, I guess, asking if you were scared or something. And
yeah, like
you were like,
they said, DC, you're scared of Francis.
And I believe your words were, I would kill that guy. If something
It's just crazy when people, it's just crazy, right? Because I believe fighters have a different mentality. Like, fear isn't the word that jumps into your mind when you see somebody do something spectacular. It's intrigue, like interesting, like this guy is interesting now. He now is a guy that's viable. It's not fear. It's never fear. It's like almost intrigue. Like, wow, I wonder what people would think after watching him do all that he's done to see me beat him. Like that's what goes into a fighter's head initially. It's not fear ever.
So that's your motivation. Your motivation is, now granted, money's good and legacy and all that stuff. I mean, that is obviously great. But the thought of you walking out of that cage as a winner and watching that person limp out after what they just did to another human, for you, that's like, all these motherfuckers are talking about what this guy was just able to do. But if I was to get in there, it'd be a whole different story. That's your mindset every single fight?
Every time. Every time when these guys fight and everybody, when I was the champion, I'd be next to the octagon. They would all call me out after looking phenomenal. And the only thing I would think about was like, if this guy gets to fight me, I'm going to try to make him seem so normal. I want to take the guy that seems abnormal, the guy that seems like a superhero, and I want to make him seem normal and average. That's like I love doing that to people. I remember Anthony Johnson was just knocking people out so bad, and he fought Glover Teixeira, and he knocked him out in 14 seconds. And I was sitting in the front row with my wife, and we were just watching the fight, and he was going to be the next challenger, and the crowd's going crazy. And Joe Rogan goes, the champion's sitting right there. You have anything to say to him? And in my mind, I was just thinking, when I fight this guy, I'm going to smash him. Like, okay, let's build it, but I know I'm going to smash him. And I had already beaten him. So he had beat everybody else, and he had gotten back to me, but I was like, the same thing is going to happen. Break him, I'm going to smash him. And then I submitted him in the second round. But it was like, he looked so great, but I knew I was going to make him look average. And that's the approach I take with everybody. I'm just like, I'm going to make this dude that the people think is amazing look average.
And is that because of your wrestling background? That is
wrestling
the
and just my
equalizer?
mentality as a competitor. I think I'm just like a very competitive person. It's like I love the competitive fire that burns inside of me, but it's also like my biggest, it's like a gift and a curse because I'm not okay most times with just things being okay. It's like,
probably affects your personal life, if I had to guess.
It really does at times. I'm competing in everything.
Yeah.
It's like I can never just – a lot of times, like, it's hard to just be happy. Even I compete in competition, obviously. I compete in video games. I compete in life. I compete in being on the TV side of things. I try to compete to be the best in that. Like, I'm never okay just being okay. And that's like – it's great. It's allowed me to be who I am, but it also can be – tough to deal with at times.
It's annoying, isn't it? It is annoying.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It really is pretty dang annoying.
It is. Like, it gets to the point where, and I don't think a lot of people truly understand this, but you lose a lot of friends because of said competitive, I would assume. I would assume that is something that happens because it's like, okay, we're doing something. We might as well make this a competition. And in said competition, I'm probably going to win. You're going to be upset and probably never play tennis again. That is what happened. That's what happened to all my friends whenever they were playing tennis for like an entire 2-3 months. I go back to visit them because I spent vacations in Pittsburgh with them whenever I was in the off season. And they were like, hey, we're having a tennis tournament. You want to play? They were like trying to get me or whatever. Never played tennis before in my life. I win the tournament. There's still guys that I have not talked to from that tournament who are still mad at me. It is an annoying thing. I don't think people truly understand. It's like whenever
it's bad.
Yeah.
It really gets bad because I'll go to do the fights, right? And preparation is good, but it's like at times you're like, you want to have that one thing the other guy doesn't have. So you say it and you sound like you're more prepared or you're more smart. Like everything's a competition. It sucks. Like I can't even let my son beat me in basketball when we're outside in the driveway. My wife's like, why are you doing that to him? I'm like, he needs to learn that nothing's ever going to be easy.
And also he needs to learn that his dad is probably just going to beat the hell out of him in everything.
Whole life.